Welcome to The Other Opinion. We're the channel that doesn't shy away from those trickier perspectives. We like to take a deep dive into the actual source material behind today's biggest, well, controversies. And today, wow, we are tearing into a story that's just exploded. It's right at that messy intersection of fan culture and, frankly, billion-dollar finance. We're talking about the intense speculation around the Snyderverse. Could it actually return?
It's definitely heating up. A lot of this is fueled by some massive corporate shifts happening at Warner Bros., Discovery, or WBD. Plus, you've got this incredibly persistent social media campaigning going on.
It's a perfect storm, really. So for this deep dive, we've pulled together reporting from a few key places.
That's right. We're looking at work by Felipe Rangel at Screen Rant, San Hargrave over at The Direct, Brad Kern from Fortress of Solitude, and also Neil Ridgely at The Street. Good cross-section of industry watchers.
And our mission today, to figure out if this rumored Netflix bid for WBD actually genuinely opens a door for Zack Snyder's DC universe to, continue.
Or is it maybe just wishful thinking from fans, amplified by all this corporate chaos in the background?
Yeah, and this isn't just about who wore the cape best, This is about huge M&A strategy, mergers and acquisitions. It's about how fan pressure might actually collide with cold, hard, billion-dollar decisions. It's fascinating.
Absolutely.
So, before we get into the weeds on the money side, do us a favor. If you like this kind of detailed insight, things others aren't really connecting, hit that like button, subscribe to The Other Opinion right now. You won't want to miss what's coming.
Okay, so the starting point has to be WBD itself. The big news is, well, they're basically signaling they're for sale. The company confirmed they've received unsolicited interest. That's the term they use. Multiple parties involved.
Right. Unsolicited interest. Corporate speak for people are knocking on our door wanting to buy us.
Pretty much. And they've officially started a review of strategic alternatives.
Okay, break that down. Strategic alternatives. What does that really mean for, us regular folks?
It means they're looking at everything. Selling the whole company, selling parts of it, merging, anything to maximize shareholder value. Get the best possible price.
So a bidding war, potentially?
Could be. We know Comcast is sniffing around. Paramount apparently made an offer before, around $20 a share, but WBD thought that was too low.
Like the name causing all the stir in this context, the one giving Snyder fans hope, is Netflix.
That's the one. Reports are saying Netflix is actively exploring a bid. It seems serious. They've even brought in Moelis & Co. Now, that's the investment bank that advised on the huge Skydance Paramount deal.
Okay, hiring Moelis isn't just window shopping. That means they want a serious look at WBD's books, right?
Right.
Their financials.
Exactly. Accessing the data room. And Netflix CEO Greg Peters even said, it's their responsibility to evaluate all our options. Very cautious, but confirming they are looking.
But hang on, isn't this completely against everything Netflix usually says? Ted Sarandos, their other CEO, has been so clear for years. We're builders, not buyers. And that famous line, no interest in owning legacy media networks. WBD is legacy media, mostly.
That's the million-dollar question, or rather billion-dollar question. And it points to this critical split in how they might approach it. Most industry analysts think if Netflix does buy WBD, they won't keep it all. It wouldn't be a wholesale acquisition.
Ah, so they'd carve it up.
Precisely. Perform some major surgery. They'd likely absorb the parts that fit their current strategy. Think HBO Max, the prestige content engine. And, crucially for this discussion, the DC Studios film and TV assets, that IP.
Okay, so they keep the streaming gold and the big franchises. What happens to the rest? CNN, TNT, Food Network, Discovery Channel, all that cable stuff?
Spin it off.
Yeah.
So that's the legacy media they supposedly don't want. Get rid of the declining assets.
Whereas a buyer like Comcast or Paramount might just take the whole bundle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They might see value in keeping it all together. But for Netflix, it's likely about cherry-picking the streaming-friendly parts.
And if they do get the DC assets, that changes everything. Because Zack Snyder already has a home at Netflix.
We have a very strong relationship, yeah. His last few big projects, Army of the Dead, Rebel Moon, they're all Netflix originals. That existing connection is huge.
Which makes the timing of Snyder's recent social media activity, well, it feels very deliberate, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He seems to be playing this uncertainty perfectly. Since he joined Instagram, he's been mixing his usual behind-the-scenes stuff for new projects.
Yeah.
Like The Last Photograph, I think it's called.
Yeah.
With almost daily posts supporting his old DC cast.
And they're not subtle. He's posting pictures of Henry Cavill, straight up captioning them, Henry Cavill is Superman. Same with Ben Affleck. No question this man is Batman. It's like he's drawing lines in the sand.
He is. And he even posted shots of Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke and Jared Leto's Joker from the Nightmare timeline, the darker stuff.
It feels like a calculated campaign. We know he's good at this.
He's a proven master of social media teasing. Just look back at the whole hashtag release the Snyder Cut movement. That was monumental.
So doing this now, while WBD is openly exploring a sale, he has to know it's pouring fuel on the hashtag restore the Snyderverse fire.
He absolutely knows. It directly targets potential buyers, especially Netflix, showing them there's this passionate built-in audience waiting.
Incredible timing. And it's not just Snyder himself, right? Others are joining in.
Yeah, Joe Manganiello, who played Deathstroke in that universe, he's been very open about it. He reposted fan videos that had this specific hashtag sell Snyderverse to Netflix.
Wow, that's pretty direct.
Very direct. And then almost adding to the hype, Netflix France, their official account, posted that picture of Cavill's Superman facing off against The Rock's Black Adam. They were promoting Black Adam arriving on streaming, asking 1 versus 1 who wins. But, using that image, fans went nuts.
Even if it's just the French division, having any part of Netflix engaged like that, it just adds legitimacy to the whole fan hope, doesn't it?
It certainly felt like it to the fans,
Yeah.
A little wink, maybe.
Okay, let's pump the brakes a little. We need to bring in the other side of this, the critical view. Because many sources, and a lot of fans too, are saying this whole idea of a Snyderverse return is, well, the word used was bonkers.
Right. And the biggest, most unavoidable reality check is James Gunn's DCEU. It's already happening. The franchise has been rebooted.
Gunn's Superman movie is filmed, set for 2025. It's meant to be the big launch.
And, according to the Street's reporting, it's already looking like a success, projected or having grossed around $616.6 million. Plus, they have other things like Creature Commandos coming.
So the argument is, why would any company, especially a new owner, scrap a plan that's already moving, already potentially successful, to go back to something that was, let's be honest, divisive and had its own struggles?
From a purely business perspective, it looks strange. Why kill momentum?
Let me push back slightly, though. If Netflix is dropping, say, $50 billion on these assets, does the initial momentum of one film, even a successful one, really outweigh the potential goodwill from finally satisfying this massive vocal fan base that's been campaigning for years?
That's the interesting strategic gamble, isn't it? But the critics raise other more practical points, too, like casting.
Right, Ben Affleck. He seems pretty adamant about not returning.
Reports say he's been quite clear and thorough about being done with Batman. And beyond him, you've got the age factor. Cavill, Affleck, Gadot. They're now mostly in their 40s, some 50s. Starting a multi-film arc again, maybe tricky.
And then there's the Ezra Miller situation, finishing the Flash storyline, which was part of Snyder's plan. That's still a huge logistical headache.
A definite complication. Then there's the argument about Snyder's recent track record at Netflix. Some commentators point to Army of the Dead, and especially Rebel Moon, which some sources literally called dead, suggesting they underperformed given their huge budgets.
So the question becomes, why would Netflix revive a failed universe, as critics call it? One where Batman v Superman famously didn't crack $1 billion, if the director's current expensive projects for them aren't necessarily huge runaway hits either.
That's the core of the financial critique, yes.
Yeah.
Is it a good bet? And tied into that, you have the creative arguments from other fans, people who just didn't like the Snyderverse tone.
The butchering of the characters argument, Batman killing, Superman being rarely joyful.
Exactly. Those fans much prefer Gunn's promised, maybe more comic accurate, lighter approach. It's a fundamental difference in vision.
Deep divides there. But isn't there a middle ground being discussed, a way to potentially satisfy everyone?
Yes, the multiverse idea, or Elseworlds, as DC calls its non-mainline stories. A smaller but definitely vocal group is arguing why not both? Let the Gunverse be the main timeline, and let Snyder finish his story as an Elseworlds project, a separate thing.
Like Marvel does with its multiverse stuff. It contains the Snyder story, gives closure, but doesn't derail the new main universe.
Precisely. DC has done Elseworlds before. It's a known path. It could be a neat corporate solution.
Seems like a win-win, potentially. Okay, before we wrap this all up and try to make sense of it, if you're finding this useful, if you appreciate untangling these complex threads, please share this deep dive with your friends, and definitely drop your other opinion in the comments below. What do you make of Snyder's timing with these posts? Let us know.
So pulling it all together, the biggest factor right now is just the sheer uncertainty from this potential WBD sale. It could realistically happen by the end of this year. And when new owners come in,
Heads usually roll, or at least strategies get completely reevaluated.
exactly. So even if James Gunn's Superman comes out in 2025 and does well, new ownership often means an upheaval in the ranks. Nothing is guaranteed. The future of DC Studios is genuinely up in the air.
Right. So, while completely scrapping Gunn's universe seems unlikely, especially if Netflix buys in they wouldn't kill something that might work, that pre-existing relationship between Zack Snyder and Netflix becomes incredibly important.
It feels like the key, yes. If Netflix does acquire the DC film library and IP, the chances of Snyder getting the green light for something to finish his story seem much higher.
Maybe not a full theatrical continuation, but like you said, a spin-off, an animated movie, a limited series.
Something like that. A project to wrap up his intended 5-movie arc. It could be positioned as a major event for their subscribers.
Like a high-profile passion project, less about box office, more about retaining and exciting that huge, dedicated fan base already on their platform, an investment in loyalty.
Exactly. It becomes about subscriber value, not ticket sales. And honestly, the biggest takeaway from all this might just be the sheer staying power of the Snyderverse idea. The fact that DC just cannot seem to fully move past it, that Snyder's Instagram posts caused this much global buzz during a multi-billion-dollar corporate negotiation.
It shows the virtually immortal legacy, as one source put it, of his unfinished saga. It just won't fade away.
It really won't.
So, here's the final thought to leave you with. If the fans, the media, even the director himself seem unwilling or unable to just move on, why should we expect the fans to? With Netflix now digging into WBD's finances, the real question is, how much is that fan demand actually worth? How much commercial value does a giant like Netflix put on finally resolving years of intense, passionate campaigning, even if some critics think the whole idea is, well, bonkers?
It's a fascinating calculation, isn't it? Where culture, commerce, and fan power collide. Definitely something to think about. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Other Opinion for more deep dives like this one.
We love digging into the stories others might overlook. And just a quick note for transparency, this deep dive was put together using an AI podcast system. Our goal is to provide information based strictly on the sources we started. But remember, AI isn't perfect. Some details or interpretations might be off. We always encourage you to dig deeper yourself and, of course, share your other opinions with us. Thanks for listening.